I didn't want it over there. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so we're starting. I just wanted to ask you some questions, Casey. Um, okay, so why did you choose to do coaching? Like what was going on for you that you thought maybe coaching would help?
The most important reason that things that I was experiencing was just an inability to feel grounded. Like I just didn't feel like myself anymore, no ambition, numb, not productive, just kind of floating, which really wasn't a great feeling because that's not me. And I think that was a slow progression over the years, but it just finally hit me that definitely wasn't myself. And knowing you, that's technically, actually, I wouldn't even consider life coaching, but because I knew you and it was something that you were starting, it really intrigued me. I thought that with the connection that you and I have, it would be beneficial in one way or another, you know?
Yeah. So, what was it? Could you even say about me that made you feel comfortable about that choice?
Well, you've always had a way about you that is very soothing. When I have met with you doing bookkeeping, I'm that kind of person who's like climbing the walls when it comes to something. I have that fear of not knowing and not being able to handle whatever it is. And numbers are definitely not my thing. So I want to say something more detailed, more than your personality, but your essence is very soothing and calming. So that already put me at ease, even though I was going to go in to do something that I'd never done before,
Right.
The coaching. And so, just your way of being with people is really what intrigued me the most.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's nice.
It's very true.
And you had said you wouldn't have considered life coaching. Why do you think you wouldn't have considered it?
Honestly, I don't think I knew what life coaching was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what exactly it entailed. I had heard the term, for a long time, but I guess I just didn't realize what life coaching was, whether it was you need organizational skills or new ways of communicating with people, or I just didn't know. And so I was intrigued by just finding out what that all entailed as well.
And what do you think came from that? Just 1 month of discovering it from me? Like, what made you? How would you define life coaching now?
I would call it a more intuitive and deeper form of therapy, I guess I could say. I've had years and years and years of therapy, and this was not to me therapy, but it was extremely therapeutic because of how the structure of it. You use your intuition, but you also have structural guidelines that you use for your clients, offering different tools. You have really great tools that you put in through the emails and your workshops. And I love the fact, which I've never experienced in therapy before, is your follow-up email that literally feeds back everything that went on during the session. And then your intuitive take on it, which really helps you to go back and do some just going back to look at it and say, oh yeah, we did say that. Usually you're going through a session and then you leave and it's out your head. But the fact that you come back with the email and all that we discussed, and then your take on it, and then you offer tools and tips to continue through your week to be able to continue that exploration that we experienced during the session. Mm-hmm. I love that because, like I said, that's me. We're in the session and then we hang up and then it's out the window. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I actually like to do that too. And I think, there's so much that happens during a session that we might not even notice. And when I'm writing and I'm going through it and doing that email for a client like yourself, it some things come up,
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
Yeah, and I think it's helpful to have that little bit of a diary because even it's a way of recording, whether you're recording or not,
Mm-hmm.
of going back and going, oh, okay, I did have progress, or, oh yeah, that's something I can now take in now I couldn't take in before,
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know you had said that you maybe didn't have many expectations because you didn't really know what to expect. But
yes.
Was there anything that, had you known kind of ahead of time, that you would hope that you would have gained in a month or 3 or from it?
Yeah, I think one thing that I was hopeful for was reconnecting with my authentic self. Because I know it's going to sound a little nutty, but I really, after going through the coaching with you, I have more of a clear picture of what I was experiencing prior.
Mm.
And I was just not living my authentic, I wasn't being my authentic self.
Mm.
I guess I could kind of say it was like kind of living outside of yourself and not inside and connected with yourself. So I was hoping to attain some grounding, some retrieval of who I am, for who I really am, and not the person that's running around doing business and errands and not thinking about, I guess the important things in life got shoved aside because you just go through the day to day. So I was looking for more of a connection of myself to myself, which I encountered.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
look back at that time prior to coaching and think, wow, how did I live that way for so long?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, super, super cool.
Is there a concrete example of that from before to now that you may be able to give?
Yeah, I can say not really a specific situation, but collectively, I react to outside stimulus so differently, whether it's an interaction in the store, whether it's a conversation with a friend, whether it's being in a group of people. I have more clarity to be able to sit back and assess a situation before I react. I'm an emotional reactor, and so I've kind of gained control over that, which is, I shouldn't say kind of, I have. I feel so different in that respect, which gives me a really beautiful sense of peace because I don't feel like I'm living in fight or flight. I'm kind of on more of an even keel in every situation of my life,
Mm-hmm.
When I open my books, I always get anxiety, and I don't anymore. If I can't figure it out, I can't figure it out. I'll figure it out the next day, or I'll find somebody to help me, or I'll call you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I react to life in general is just night and day.
Huh.
I have much more peace.
That's great. I mean, probably helps decision making, right?
Absolutely.
Instead of getting stuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's improved my ability to, get myself to a place where I can make a less emotional decision,
Mm.
and more based on what's happening around me, and not the triggers that are thrown at a person,
Mm.
Yeah.
Go. So why would you recommend me for someone? Like, what is it that you would say?
First of all, like I said earlier, I think you just have a very soothing, approachable way about you. You're just being in your presence is calming. And even though, like, we're distant, but even when we used to interact at your house doing bookkeeping, it was just always a serene atmosphere. So that in itself will calm somebody down in an instant, just the good feeling, the vibe that you carry. But more than that is this time being able to interact with you in the scenario of life coaching as opposed to bookkeeping. You have a very strong and powerful intuition. And I, like, how many times have we said, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of that? Or you'll ask me how my day was, and you'll say, oh, I had a feeling, or, we're just kind of always on the same page that way. So I just feel like for you to sit back and listen to someone, you take the time to really listen to what the person is saying, which is huge. And you're not always throwing back advice. You reverberate what the person said so that you can be sure that you heard them clearly. And then offering what your take is on it more than offering advice is huge. It's huge. Even if it's something like you said with the emails, which is really nice to fall back on after the fact. There have been instances where the connection really may or may not have been made in that instant, but I didn't recognize it. I would go back after the fact and be like, oh yeah, that did, that resonates with me. So I just think you're well suited for this. I think this is what you were meant to be doing. You're very, very intuitive, and you're excellent at just assessing the situation,
Thank you.
It's true. It's true. I've never walked away from a session where I felt, well, that wasn't very productive. That never happens. So I just think you offer a beautiful space for a person to search within themselves, and you facilitate that beautifully.
Thank you. Is there any question you think I should be asking you right now? Or you want to share?
I don't know, but I would highly recommend you to anyone that would consider life coaching. I think there are times when, if this person's in therapy, sometimes it takes however many therapists for you to connect with the right one. I don't think if a person comes to you for life coaching that they're going to experience that. Like I said, I think you're in the right space at the right time, and this is what you were meant to be doing.
What kind of problems do you think someone that I might be able to help someone with? Like yourself, it sounds like you were kind of stuck, not in your body, maybe not feeling. Is that the kind of thing that if someone is like depressed, or what kind of things do you think what I did for you would help someone with?
I think that it doesn't really matter what the problem is. You help a person see themselves in a way that is maybe, a lot of people are hard on themselves. So you kind of will help them to look into themselves without as much judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastination was a big deal for me that you helped me with. And depression, my goodness, like I don't know how many years I lived depressed and probably didn't realize it. So I think that even if a person doesn't know what they're struggling with, because sometimes you can be so deep in your hole, you're not even sure which direction to go in or what exactly is the problem, because you can just get so stuck in it. But just the ability to be able to express myself and have you be a soft place to share will open up whatever a person needs. I mean, I think that will come with clarity after being able to just do initial talking, just getting a person to express themselves authentically is going to open up whatever door they need to have opened to be able to work on in their lives,
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything specific because everybody has issues and some people don't even realize, like I said. So I think you're a beautiful facilitator of that you just provide a soft place to land so that they can do the work. And then you can help guide them through whatever work they need to do for themselves.
Well, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
I wish I had more input.
No, it was great.
I
Thank
can't
you.
say enough about my time with you. I really can't. It has changed me. Or should I say it's changed me back to me?
Yeah.
I feel so much more myself, centered, grounded. And I think the end result that people are going to have in a connection with you and working with you is eventually you gain your own power back.
Yeah.
And you provide people the tools and, like I said, the soft place to be able to do that work.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't think anybody could work with you and not come out a better person.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, and that's so important to me that the person feels like it's theirs, It has really nothing to do with me, but I'm just holding that space to believe that they already have it, which they do, Right. So yeah, that's really important to me that I'm out of the way, but just holding that place for them.
Yeah. And I think that's huge. That's so huge because, like, to refer back to therapy, because that's really the only thing I can compare it with. And it's not therapy, but it's so much better, is that you provide the space, you're not throwing out advice, and it just gives somebody the opportunity to look within themselves, and then you can help them navigate that.
Yeah.
In a beautiful way too. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I had a question. What tools do you think that I gave you? Like, what are 3 tools you think that you remember?
Well, I like I said, the emails. That is almost like a journal of what the session entailed.
Yeah.
So that you can go back and reread and kind of go through the conversation after the fact. And then I guess it depends on, well, for me, the chakras, you had sent me quite a few articles. I think you're very good at resourcing what the person needs to have for tools for after the fact, so that in between the weeks of appointments, there's still access to whatever the person wants to continue with. You know what I mean? From that session. And what I love is that you're always thinking about that after the fact. That's got to be so draining on you. But you're thinking about that session after the fact throughout the week. So sometimes you'll send me, hey, you know what? This resonated with me after our session. Maybe you could find this useful. Like the Michael Singer books. There's always something that pops up in your head that you'll throw out in a text or another email during the week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're all in, and it shows, you know? And the results show. I'm sure.
Cool. Okay, yeah. That's definitely it.
Cool. I hope it was enough for you.
Yeah, definitely.